Hi, my friends. If you're thinking about doing something in the digital arena for your side hustle, may I suggest you get on that now. I was listening to the Hoover Institute. A guy named Peter Robinson interviewed George Gilder. First off, if you're not familiar with the Hoover Institute, get familiar with him. Thomas Sowell's up there through Stanford. Those guys are just phenomenal. I could listen to these guys all day long. It's nuts. I actually just got done listening to when I was mowing an interview they did with a guy from MIT, a couple of scientists or mathematicians, I can't remember. But anyway, and Stephen Meyer from the Discovery Institute talked about intelligent design, the fallacies of Darwin's evolution and everything. It's incredible. I mean, look, 98% of that is way above my head, but it gets you thinking about the Darwin theory of evolution and whatnot. No, does that not mean that it proves a Christian God? Doesn't mean that. It just means, it's just that you should listen to it. I mean, my goodness. Stephen Meyer wrote the Darwin's Doubt book, which I struggle through. I gotta get back to it because, that guy is a smart guy. And I'm like, I don't think I'm that stupid. I'm just your old buddy Josh, but I don't think I'm dumb. I'm just like, man, I had a hard time following that. But it's a wonderful book. A guy named John Lennox writes he's not an intelligent designer. He's a Christian apologist, mathematician and stuff. And some of these guys write, it's tough to follow, but it's interesting nonetheless. So anyway, the Hoover Institute, I forgot the name of the YouTube thing they did, but they have a YouTube program, and Peter Robinson interviews all these guys, and George Gilder's a guy that I want to talk to you about. So Gilder is a guy who had written back in 20, 30 years ago about what we see now, the phone. I mean, it's just the prescience of that, or prescience. I've heard both, prescience or prescience. So you smart English majors, you correct me in my speech, but I've heard both. Well, anyway, so Gilder's the one who predicted where we are today. It's pretty nuts what he predicted back 20, 30 years ago with the smartphone. And he says, and I posted this on the channel, the community section, the running blog that YouTube allows. He says that the cloud that everyone just thinks is this sky, and they know it's not a sky, but it's a server plant, and that is run with electricity from cheap hydro and cold water, and it's just growing and growing and growing. So Google's got a big plant up someplace in Oregon that serves the server, that huge hydroelectric plant that's giving them the water and the electricity they need for the server farms. And I guess Google's got 90 places all over the world and stuff. It's incredibly interesting. And then I start thinking, and then his whole point is that's not going to last. It's interesting because he's like sitting there thinking, there's got to be some kind of designed to hold and store all this abundance of information. It just doesn't float. You know what I'm saying? Something's got to be there. And his argument is that, let me go this way. It looks like it's backed up. Why would that be backed up? Anyway, his argument is that doesn't just appear. I mean, something's got to go someplace. And it's got to be powered by some kind of electrical generation. And hydro, while great for what it was, as we're expanding and expanding and expanding and demanding and demanding and demanding and put more and more out there on YouTube, more and more out there in Gmail, more and more and more and more, it's only a matter of time for it's just right our limits. And look, you watch the video, he'll describe it a hell of a lot better than I am. He actually has a book called End of Google or something like that, or Life After Google, which is another book I gotta get. All right, so long story short, what does George Gilder say? So George Gilder is saying that, it's only a matter of time for this stops, and we just don't have the capacity for that. And then you start thinking about when it comes to hydro, there's only so much. You need a head, and what that means is you have to have water that falls, the gravity brings the water down to turn the turbine to create the electrical generation. All right, you can't just do it in your backyard. You have to have a certain amount, and this is all basic math and physics and stuff that says you have to have a certain amount of level for the water to fall to turn the turbine to generate the electrical generation. And it's just not abundant in the United States. I mean, we're pretty much at max as it is now. I'm sure there's some areas in the world that they can do that. They can probably dam some other places, but hydro is not going to save the world. And I like hydro, but it's not. And also hydro has some environmental impacts, some pretty big one too. So where does the energy and ultimately the electricity come from to create all these increased server farms and whatnot? Well, at some point, it's just not going to be there anymore. It's just not going to be enough. It's funny too when everyone says green technology, green energy, green, tech firms are green. No, they're not. They're not green at all. And solar photovoltaic aren't going to do it. So the issue that we have here, man, if you ever drive through a horse farm, woo-wee, that stinks. And it's not your buddy Josh, man. I showered this morning. Man, that stinks. So the issue that we have to contend with then is that, all right, so what do we do? If you are trying to create something using the internet, using a website, using YouTube, using video, audio, anything that generates the cloud, anything that generates digital storage, you better start doing it now. Look, I'm not trying to be a paranoid guy, but you better start doing it now to take advantage of what's out there. And I don't know what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're selling products, it's one thing, but the nice thing about YouTube, the nice thing about the internet is you can sell product and use the internet and YouTube as your sales force. You see what I'm saying? And if you just better do it now, because at some point in the future, there won't be this abundance like you have today, where just anyone with a camera can start uploading YouTube. It's just not going to be there. And so if it's not, what do you do? And so, anyways, kind of thinking that, I was thinking about myself. I've actually made pretty good money these last couple months. I'm incredibly amazed, frankly. It's amazing to me, and I'm humbled. Again, I'll never say I'm blessed because everyone is blessed, but I'm touched by the trust that people have put in me to send me money without even knowing me, other than doing this communication. But that, let's just say, 5 years from now, YouTube says, oh, I can't do this anymore. We don't have the capacity. Well, what do I do at that point? Well, I hope I have all my debts paid off. You see what I'm saying? So this is where you really, if you're thinking about that side hustle and you need a kick in that boot and a kick in the pants to get going, I'm telling you, watch the thing with George Gilder. Read his book. I think it's Life After Google or something like that. But read that stuff, watch his video, and you start thinking like, yeah, I better get on that now, because the going isn't always going to be there, and at some point it'll be different, and at that point I don't know what it'll be. I might not have the capacity, I might not have the skill set, I might not have the ability to do whatever it will be in the future relative to what I can do now. And so for me, I've been able to pay off all my credit card debt this last couple months. It's freaking crazy. It's crazy. And so my goal now is to have no debt other than my mortgage by the time, that includes student loans for my daughter, by the time the year ends up. And then you start working on your mortgage, like a crazy man. And if that happens, and YouTube just decides to pull the rug out from you, it's not just YouTube and Google. I mean, it's anything. I mean, if that happens, they pull out the rug from you and you don't have any debt, you're in a whole lot. But it just goes to my whole thing about not having debt, man. If you're not having debt, you get to choose what you want to do, where you want to go. I mean, so many things happen when you don't have debt that I don't know what it could possibly be like. Never mind the feeling of not being tied down to any specific place or industry, because my debt level forces me to be there. So the issue here is, if you're starting a side hustle, you're working some crappy old job, but you got to stay there for a couple more years, man, just get started on something. I actually made $8 last month I just put ads on the blog side of my heritagewealthplanning.com website blog, and I made $8. Now, that's not much, I get it, but that's just that's another $8. I made probably $5 a day on my podcast. I make probably $100 a day on YouTube. So I'm missing some of my books. I probably make, actually, I'm not even sure. It's hard to, Amazon makes it hard to figure out how much you're making, but you get 2 checks or 3 checks a month from audio books, your paperbacks, your royalties, and then you get on royalties for paperbacks and royalties on Kindle. So I get 3 checks a month from Amazon. I mean, these aren't huge money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like, but every bit helps. $5 there, $20 there, $100 there. Every bit helps for sure. I think I made $900 or $1,000 last month on my books. $100 a day on YouTube. $5 a day on the podcast, and I just started putting ads on the website. All that could go away the minute that, if George Gilder's right, that the end of Google comes. And again, I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to motivate you that if you're thinking about doing something, man, get off the schneid now and get cracking, because you don't know if that time's going to be out there for you. You don't know. And so for me, fast forward or go back 3 months ago when I had credit card debt, which I have no longer. It's nuts. It's because of you guys being here as part of my audience. look, I'm not freaking living. I mean, look, I am living large relative to the rest of the world. You are too if you're in the United States. But I'm certainly not driving a Lambo like my man Graham Stephen or whatever his name is. I'm certainly not, living on the beach. Nothing like that. I'm just old Josh. But and frankly, I don't need any of that crap. I'm living on the beach would kind of sweet. But it's never gonna happen. But you have to start someplace. And if you're looking to go to the digital age, don't assume it's going to be there forever. I'm just telling you, you can't make that mistake. At some point, it's going to stop, and when it does, you won't be able to regenerate that, and then you have to, come up with a whole new plan of action to generate that side hustle. This is why you got to get started. I don't even know what it is. Just a blog post, man. Just a blog. Watch the guys at Income School. They do a YouTube channel, which got me thinking about putting ads on my website. Because they got websites that are drawing like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I like those guys at Income School. That's probably my favorite channel right now, simply because I think they're honest and they're not too young, where they're so, I don't know. I was just listening to a video with when I was mowing, Adam Carolla is interviewing that guy Logan, I can't remember, it's the young guy. That guy, that's okay. But these guys are actually real guys, like that guy Paul Logan or something like that. Logan Paul. I don't know. I mean, I liked him. He's a little bit. He's a little bit odd for me, but I thought he was all right. But Adam Carolla's interviewing him. I thought it was pretty interesting anyway. But the facts are, he made his money at the beginning of YouTube and is living life for that. Those days are going to come to an end. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, 5 years, or 10 years, but it's unsustainable. It literally is unsustainable for the server farms to be that big. And when that happens, you don't want to look back and say, damn, I should have done something. Start it today, so that way 2 years from now you start generating enough money in which you can start paying off that credit card, in which then you can leave. So the guys at Income School, they talk about, give it 24 months, and if you do it like and I haven't signed up for their course. I think it's interesting actually, but they give you I don't even know how much it costs. They have this course you can buy from them, probably a couple $100. It's probably money well spent, and they show you all the ways you can do a blog post and make a couple $1,000 a month in ads, but it takes some time. And if they're right and you can get that going, man, just start today. And again, as I always say, no one is going to know who you are today, but they will know who you are 18 months from now. So watch those guys in Income School. I forgot, it was Income 24 or 24 Income, something like that. But just type in Income School on YouTube. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I'm a big fan of those guys. And if George Gilder, if he is half right, I mean, relative to what he predicted before, I mean, things can be different. And it's going to be good. Good. I'm an optimist. But this right here won't be here forever. So take advantage of what I can. All right, smash, and we'll see you.